Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net, your choice for the conservative voice. You can go and check out our YouTube page, too, at Champion News Online, and be sure to sign up for our weekly email at championnews.net. Erin, Jack, during the break, we had an interesting conversation. You didn't like me asking Erin and Jack.
Well, I thought you were confused here because you were saying that we ought to get better education, and the federal government is starting to do it. And I chose to make it. I saw your shoes before you are wearing this beautiful pair of spikes. I've seen advertised shoes like that for $1,200. You're in style, but they aren't the right thing for your feet. There should be a federal standard for your shoes. And this see-through dress you've got on.
It's not that see-through. Wait a minute.
That should be chosen by the federal government because it's not enough to keep you warm, and it's too costly to make them this way. And the federal government should supply you an adjustable kimono so that we can get everybody equipped with the right federally.
Energy-efficient clothing.
Energy-efficient clothing, and yes.
Right.
But Erin,
the problem is
you
that...
said when Common Core first came out, though, on it, there was goodness. There was a good intention there.
Yes.
Federal government took over.
I don't think there's a good intention comes out of these people.
The story.
Not the government, but who... All right, let's have Erin talk.
This is awful.
The story originally
the word to hell is paved with good intentions.
That some very good governors, arguably like Mitch Daniels and Jeb Bush and a lot of Republicans got together with business leaders and said, hey, the education system's not working, as Jack talked about in the first segment.
Okay.
And so their idea was they would form a compact as states, totally separate from the federal government, and do their own thing.
It's
They'd
still
have
too
standards.
centralized.
Well, I agree with you, but this is how it started.
Yeah.
And so they were going to have where certain states all decided, let's use the same standards, let's develop them together and decide they're good, and all these states will be using these standards as an experiment. But the problem is that the federal government hijacked this with the stimulus money. So the problem is we're putting all our eggs in the same basket. If a few states decided to do this, the states that weren't doing it could watch them and say, hey, those worked, this didn't work. Right now, there's no toll-free number a parent can call and say, hey, I don't like this. There's no process to update or change or fix anything that's wrong in these standards. It's privately owned, it's trademarked by companies who have no responsibility to parents to make sure that these standards work. And in fact, the federal government has
with your money.
Taxpayer
dollars.
Well, it was paid
the
for.
The federal government taxes us to give money to somebody to do the program that they force on us to do. That's what you get with single-payer system.
These are corporations.
Listen to me here. This is a single-payer system tightening up the noose around us. We got single-payer system right here in Illinois with a crummy education that's run by the stinking IEA union. They pick out what's happening in that. That's why the K-12 system stinks here in Illinois, because the laws have channeled the control of it through the state federal government, and that's being run, as far as the schools go, by the union. So the parents have very little to say, and they have no control over it here. Now you take that and have the federal government take the money from you and be the single-payer system.
And
they are doing the same stinking thing to us with our medical care.
Wow.
You aren't going to get to pick your doctor. You're going to take the medicine and the advice from the person that they pick for you.
Right.
You don't have free choice anymore.
And the School Board Association has taken the payoff from the Gates Foundation to develop Common Core. The teachers' unions got a payout from Bill Gates to develop Common Core.
This is all about following the money.
That's all about following the money.
Now, what I'm hearing from you, at its inception, states, it's constitutionally okay for states to go ahead and do these little experiments. And I think progressively you will find what works, what doesn't work. And
we know what works right now. Homeschooling works great.
Right.
But not everybody.
Catholic schools or Lutheran schools, Jewish schools, any of the private schools work great. We know what works great. We don't need any help
but all
from the
those
federal
homeschoolers
government.
now who used to take the GED to get the equivalent high school diploma and then take college entrance exams, they have to take Common Core tests now because the SAT, the ACT, and the GED are all being switched over to this Common Core type questions. It's the way you take the test, not just the materials. And there are a lot of people who are out of the system who have the fortitude to bust out of the public school system are now going to have to in some way teach the Common Core pedagogy and the materials that are covered in Common Core in order to take these tests, because these are not like the old standardized tests. Some of them, the question is you watch a little movie and then you have to write an essay. There's other ones where you read text and you have to regurgitate words and phrases out of that text. And a computer algorithm is going to grade whether your essay is good or not based on the complexity of your sentences. So it's a very different way of teaching to the test than it used to be when it was mainly multiple choice with a pencil.
This is frightening.
Consider what's happening, and it's much in the news. I just have a few seconds to say this, but there's a lot of fussing about the fact that the federal government can, through the magic of computers, can mine deeply into our telephone calls and everything else we do. This puts the children
that is
into
exactly
the same
right.
mill
And different
to be
government
controlled.
agencies, all they have to show is an educational interest to get that data and use it for research or what have you.
Well, you know how kids are. They say things off the top of their head like, I hate you, I'm going to
That's
kill
right.
you.
That'll end up in their file.
All of a sudden, that kid is now a dangerous
behavioral
person.
problem.
Behavioral problem. This is deplorable. Is there anything we can do to change this? And you know what? I want you to answer that when we come back. Stay with us. We're going to find out if there's anything you can do to stop this Common Core right after the break.